my name is Laurie Miller, and I'm the volunteer coordinator for the Marshy Point Council. The winter solstice is past, and our days are getting a little bit longer each time, but we still have a long winter to get through. And how people have coped with that through the ages is to bring in fresh evergreens into their homes. Something we practice today, whether we realize it or not, if you celebrate Christmas and have a tree and a wreath or decorate your mantle. This is something that's been done since pagan times. So for today, I'm going to show you how to do some quick, easy arrangements for your home using what you might find in your yard or your neighbor's yard if they let you cut them, and using some items from your kitchen. So to start, I'm using a pitcher that I have, which is a great vessel to use because you can fill it with water and your greens will stay green for a very, very long time. I started with a very stiff pine, some kind of spruce that's very spiky and hard, and that'll hold up the rest of our design. Here I have a handful of different kinds of pine: white pine, juniper, another kind of pine that was cut off the bottom of a Christmas tree. It's more softer and airier. So we're going to put that in front of the harder pines, and that'll kind of be held in place by that spruce in the back. So just by itself, that wouldn't be a bad arrangement for your kitchen table, but we're going to doll it up. Here's a nice piece of magnolia. I'm going to put that in front. Those nice shiny leaves show up nicely. I like to add a little bit of color and a little bit of shine if I can to add interest. So I've just taken some fancy ribbon, cut about a 6-inch length and made a loop and wired it to a stick that I got out of the backyard. So I'll stick that in. And I have 2 of those. I kind of wanted to go for a colonial theme today a little bit, so I'm adding some fruit. I have an apple and a tangerine on skewers. Skewers that you might have in your kitchen cabinet from barbecuing time when you make kebabs. If you don't have a skewer, use a stick from outside or straw. I want to put that in, and that adds a little pop of color to our arrangement. And I have an apple as well. And finally, since we have magnolia leaves, I have a magnolia seed pod that I found on my travels. I just hot glued it to a stick from the yard, and I'm going to slide that right in front of our magnolia leaves. Do a little bit of arranging there, and we have a right nice arrangement for our kitchen table or the dining table or the hall table. And it didn't take long at all. I have another arrangement here that you might like. This is a bit more formal. So I'm taking an antique teapot, and I also used a stiff kind of pine in the back to hold up the rest. I added some of the airier pines like the white pine and the juniper, and then I just added some flowers that I got at the grocery store. I just cut them to size, put them in, and added some berries. If you have no time to do anything, here's something you can do. I have the lantern in the middle of the table. I just took some greens like the white pine and the juniper, and I just laid it around this object, and it could be a vase, it could be anything. And I just added some fruits. I added some oranges, some apples, some pine cones. You could add nuts. You can add whatever you find on your travels. Here's a brilliant idea that I found out about. It's a potato covered in foil, and I poked holes in it with a pencil and just added some of the greens that I pre-cut to go inside. The potato will keep the greens moist, and you could continue on and fill this out until you have a centerpiece for your table. A great project for kids. Let them poke holes in the potato and stick the greens in. When we decorate at Marshy for the holidays, I like to use things that pertain to Marshy. So I did take some oysters from the oyster recycling bin, and here's one I hot glued to a stick that I got out of the yard, and I'll use that in arrangements at Marshy because that's more seasonal and also more pertinent to Marshy Point being on the water. Did the same thing with a seashell. You can use big shells, small shells, you can put it on a stick. Sometimes I just gather stuff as I'm walking, and the other day in the backyard of my house I found some sweet gum balls that are literally everywhere, and I just hot glued them to a stick that I found as well. I'm I might use that in arrangement later on or save it for next year. They'll dry out a little bit, but they'll still be good to use. So I hope that you've gotten some inspiration today and to go out in your backyard and look for things that you might want to do a quick arrangement with. And I hope that we see you soon at the marsh.